The Lyran alien race are cosmic forefathers before Pleiadians. According to the explanation offered by the Pleiadians, the Lyrans were the original ancestors of our branch of life's stream of evolution. Many thousands of years ago, their civilization in Lyra reached a high technological level, and they began to travel in space. They were free will creatures and had control of their destiny. At a certain point, they fell into disagreement and divided into factions with different ideologies, goals, and objectives. They eventually went to war, destroying much of their society and ruining their home. Escapists, seeking to avoid the anticipated outcome, fled from their native system and found homes in star systems that we call the Pleiades and the Hyades. They also went to nearby Vega. In a few thousand years, they had raised those societies to high technological levels and were once again able to travel in space. Some of the Pleiadians of Lyran ancestry on their travels discovered our planet and its nascent life evolving in a very hospitable atmosphere. They stayed and settled briefly in later Lemuria and early Atlantis, some even mixing with Earth creatures and becoming Earthmen. Those who remained apart and did not mix soon produced highly evolved technologies. They designed and built many wonderful machines and devices, creating comforts and conveniences of all kinds. Again, they came into conflict, and society became polarized into two camps, each possessing marvelous technologies. Eventually they went to war, resulting in terrible destruction. Those who could escaped to other regions of space and started over again. Some of those beings are now also visiting us occasionally. A long time later, a new wave of Pleiadians arrived to check on the descendants of their ancestors who survived the terrible war. They found survivors and again mixed with them, assisting Earth humanity in gaining control of its assets and producing a new technology. This society became the later Atlanteans, who raised their sciences to levels that produced air and undersea travel before that civilization was also destroyed by surface war on Earth. With so many conspiracy theories out there, it's hard to keep track of them all. Welcome to What We Know, where we try to explore the histories and mysteries of the world by presenting different theories. The only narrative we push is this: here's what we know, make up your own mind. The modern Pleiadians are descendants of the peaceful faction that settled in the star group, which astronomy gives that name. The vegans visiting us now are descendants of another peaceful group that settled on a planet in the Vega system. The descendants of the Lyrans, long evolved before the conflict stage, are now interested in our welfare and feel a special responsibility toward us since we reflect their earlier warlike tendencies. They lost much in their history of conflict, destroyed themselves several times, and lost their great technological advances each time. According to the story, they even settled another hospitable planet in our solar system, the fifth one from the Sun, which was actually destroyed in a war of nuclear weapons that got out of hand there. This is part of their concern about how we will use our nuclear sciences now. These Lyrans are now being helped and assisted in certain ways by their human cousins in the Pleiades, Vega, and other places. Although the Lyrans are much older in evolution, they are only slightly ahead of the others in some technologies and are behind in others. They are being assisted along the way by their cousins. This explains why so many human-like extraterrestrials are appearing in the same age and time. Some are actually linked in evolution and share a common source. Our re-emerging technology attracts their attention now, and they are here to observe and assist according to our will choices. The Lyran races began evacuating their home planet over 22 million years ago, and they have peaked and migrated from there more than once. They believe that creation itself is the first cause, not that a creator created it. They see creation as universal knowledge, universal wisdom, and universal spirit. They told Meyer that there are millions of creation forms known to them. They also told him that our earliest society on Earth was copied from the early Lyrans visiting Earth. They were here and observed physical life on Hyperborea, a mythical first continent encompassing all the landmass at the time. This was before Earth humans began physical evolution. Descendants of these Lyrans came again later and assisted the budding societies of the next epoch, and gave Lemuria and Atlantis their names. There were other beings from another system called Boy, who also visited Earth at that time. The Boy were a race of beings 2.5 to 3 meters tall. There were once beings visiting the Earth who were 7 to 8 meters tall. They had feet 90 to 93 centimeters long, and fossil tracks still exist on what we now call Easter Island. There was a special race of very large people, an unimaginable 10 to 11 meters tall. They were not entirely physical. Whole histories of Hyperborea, Agartha, Lemuria, and Atlantis have been described by the Pleiadians. On an extended visit in space, Meyer was shown another atmospheric planet with life in an earlier stage of evolution. He saw dinosaur-like creatures, a stocky primitive man wearing skins, and steep pyramids in the distance in a very misty golden atmosphere. He was told that this planet would be 770 light-years from Earth. According to the Pleiadian account, the Lyrans left their system as rebels and settled in the Pleiades and the Hyades. They later came to Earth and mixed with Earthmen. Earthmen then lived in the remnants of the earlier single continental landmass known as Hyperborea. These beings produced and developed a civilization with advanced technology here on Earth. They became involved in a war among themselves, and a faction left and proceeded to Era in the Pleiades, while others went to another planet in our solar system, an atmospheric planet, the fifth from the sun, which they called Malona. They settled on this planet and mixed with the human life form there. The Lyran descendants who settled Earth and Malona were both a warlike race, and they carried their warlike tendencies with them. The Malonans ended up destroying their planet in a terrible atomic holocaust. Will we do the same? The surviving Lyrans left for many thousands of years. Subsequent generations came back in another age and again fell to fighting among themselves, and again they left. This was repeated once more, and now the descendants of those are again observing Earth and the surviving descendants of their ancestors. The Lyran rebels have now reached a higher spiritual level of being and no longer indulge in conflict and war. Their ancestors are responsible for the racial variety now found on Earth. So we see that we, the Pleiadians, the Vegans, and some other Adamic beings who come here from the Hyades, are all, in a sense, Lyran descendants, and we are linked by a common heritage. The current Lyran visitors with their higher spirituality are here trying to undo some of the effects left by their earlier, less spiritual ancestors. The older Lyran ancestors, due to their underdeveloped spirituality, fell into stagnation and lost much of their technology. The Pleiadians are now helping them return to the marvelous technologies they once had. The Vegans, also descendants of the old Lyrans, are also helping the Lyrans recover some of their old advanced sciences and introducing them to some new ones. The Pleiadians have been helped much by the Dal universe beings and are passing some of this on to the Lyrans, while the Lyrans are helping them in other ways. If you enjoy this video and want to see more like it, please consider subscribing to us and hitting the like button. Feel free to write a comment below and suggest which theory you want to see next.